Hey everyone, this is Blake with Worn and Wound, and today we're taking a look at the Regattare 2011 by the New Zealand watch company Magrette. It's a super compressor style dive watch, which features a rotating internal bezel and date function, and has a 500 meter water resistance, and it's housed in a cushion style case. It's got some really great sporty components going on the dial, which is contrasted nicely by some more classic dressy style points on the case. It retails for $545 plus shipping to the US. So the dial of the Regattare 2011 is not exactly what you'll see on other dive watches. It's very racing inspired. It features large yellow luminescent hash markings for the hours, with just the 12 being a numerical hour marker. And on the internal bezel, they introduce white and red minute markers. The face of the watch is black, and the only other markings that they have on the face are the Regattare in red and the Magrette in white. The hour and minute hands are steel hands with straight sword hands with luminescent filling, and the second hand is non-luminescent polished steel. There's also a date indicator, which is a little interruptive because it's a base white with black text, but I appreciate a date window. And so the face is really in stark contrast with its sportiness to the rest of the watch case. What you'll notice is that we have some polished accents on the top case, on the square edges of the cushion case, as well as the lugs. And if we rotate around, the sides of the case are matte steel. But just generally speaking, the cushion style case and the super compressor style diver is definitely a more of a classic look that you're not going to usually find with such a contemporary sporty style face or dial. There's one of the other additional really unique design elements of the watch that I appreciate is this large external bezel of brushed steel. I think it really helps to break up the more sporty face from this more classic looking case. And I just think it offers a really interesting geometric function, or sort of highlights the geometry of the case very nicely. So I want to talk a little bit more about the case of the Regattare. I think it's really interesting. As I mentioned, I think there's some really great geometry to this watch. You have this very bold, broad brushed stainless steel external bezel that sits in nice contrast to the polished stainless steel bottom of the cushion case. You also have the very sort of pillow-like shape of the cushion case, as well as these bowed, the lugs almost bow out a little bit and are also polished. I think that's an interesting design choice. Moving to the side of the case, one of the things you'll notice is that the two crowns aren't exactly lined up, I guess what you would call vertically on the watch if you're looking at it, for example, this way. But the watch does feature, which doesn't bother me, and I think I've seen that on a few other watches with an internal bezel, but it's just something to note. The crowns also feature the Magrette logo on the sides, which is a nice detail. The watch also has a nice shape to it. It bows out from the bottom up, and then it also lines up nicely with the domed sapphire crystal, offering a nice seamless transition. It also has a nice shape to it because while it is a thicker watch, I think our measurement about 15 millimeters, it does wear nicely. And then moving to the back of the watch, onto the back of the case, you'll notice that it's a non-display case, and it features the Magrette logo as well as some additional information about the watch. Now, you don't ordinarily think much about the back of the case, especially if it's not a display case, but I happen to really enjoy the Magrette logo, and I think the back of the case has been machined very nicely. It's got a really nice tactile feel to it, and the polished stainless steel, looks really nice. So I just think that's a nice detail that sort of adds to the overall quality of the case and the watch itself. All right, so I just want to jump into the function of the two crowns here just real quick. The top crown adjusts the internal bezel, and the bottom crown adjusts the time as well as the date function. Both are screw down, which is concurrent with the fact that the Magrette actually features a 500 meter water resistance. So first I'll show you the internal bezel. So like a lot of watches that have an internal bezel that have a screw-down crown, they don't have a ratcheting feel as you would get on an external bezel, and they rotate much more smoothly. But what I noticed with the Magrette is that it actually still is quite easy to get the hour marker to line up exactly where you'd like it to be, which is really nice. And then here with the bottom crown, which adjusts the the time and the date. Again, you unscrew it. In the first position, it obviously doesn't adjust anything, and you can wind the movement. As you can tell, the movement is non-hacking. When you pull it out into the first position, you can adjust, the date here. And then when you pull it all the way out into the final position, you can adjust the time. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the packaging that the Magrette Regattare comes in. So it comes in this really nice, unfinished wooden box. Really rough around the edges, very simple, really nothing to it except for this, sort of a burned-in Magrette logo. I really like it. I think it's a really nice little box. Maybe something that you won't want to keep your watches in the future, but you can certainly keep it around to keep anything else in. So you just slip the top of the box off like this. Inside you're going to find a watch roll with your Magrette. I'll get to that in a second. A card from Dion, the owner and founder of Magrette, as well as I wouldn't really call it a user's manual. It's more just some general information about Magrette, as well as some information about your watch and the guarantee. It's a nice thick cardstock with a matte finish. I really like it quite a bit. It's pretty simple. I think simple packaging sometimes is the best packaging, so I definitely like this. So taking a look at the watch roll that the watch comes in, it's really simple, and I like it quite a bit. You just untie it here, the watch rolls out, and then inside you'll find your watch, as well as an additional strap. I also have another brown strap that I bought for the watch here. The watch itself comes with 2 straps. It comes with this rubber strap that we've been filming the watch on today. It also comes with a leather strap with red interior that you see here. And lastly, the strap that I've been wearing the watch on most actually is this brown leather strap that I picked up from Panatime that I think offers just another element to the watch when worn. So now I can give you guys an idea of what the Regattare looks like on wrist. It's a little bit of a thicker watch, as I said, probably because of the internal bezel, but it's got a nice curvature to it, so it sits comfortably. It's a nice size of 44 millimeters in diameter, and it's not particularly uncomfortable to wear because these crowns are pretty close. They don't bulge out too far on the side of the watch, so they're not uncomfortable in that way. I like the hardware of the straps that the Regattare comes with. I like the lower profile buckle, and this rubber strap that it comes with is really comfortable. It's one of the more comfortable rubber straps that I've worn so far. It's got a nice stretch to it. It's very nice and soft and pliable. And if you like the look of it on the rubber strap, if you're looking for a much more dive look to it, then it's definitely a nice option. All right, so I just wanted to show you another option, strap option for the Regattare. This is a brown leather strap that I picked up from Panatime that I think really complements well the classic components of the watch, specifically the cushion case and super compressor style. I think it highlights some of the more vintage, classic stylings of the watch, whereas the rubber strap that you get from Magrette really highlights the dive elements, and this black strap that you get, the black leather strap that they provide, really highlights the racing elements. Specifically the fact that it has this very bright red under to the strap. It's not my favorite. I personally, prefer not to wear with the bright red. I think it just aesthetically, it doesn't appeal to me as much. But I do understand that it really does call to the more race style elements of the watch's dial. I do have to say this strap is incredibly comfortable to wear. It's very soft. Unlike even with the brown strap that I mentioned, with bending it doesn't show as much wear and tear. It's very flexible, very comfortable. If you like the look, if you like the race look, which I'm sure a lot of you do, this is a really great strap that comes with the watch. So the Regattare 2011 by Magrette is a really nice, versatile dive watch. It features some very sporty, contemporary components to the design, but also has some very classic dress components. And as I mentioned, I think depending on what strap and that you put it on, it really brings out some of the finer design points of the watch. The Magrette Regattare 2011 retails for $545, and it can be purchased from Magrette's website today.